Blood clot vibes. You see what it is? You see the title? Run the rhythm. Let's set it off like this. Alright, family, we're about to get this thing started. You know how we do. The ones and twos. These difficulties. Let me see who in the chat. Oh, okay, family creative gang that chimed in. I see what's good. Alright. Y'all see what the title is? Y'all see what the title is? We got Sister Sophia in the building. You know what I mean? We're gonna touch on, is religion necessary for our spiritual ascension? Ooh, we gonna see, is it necessary? So see what Cosmo Cal in the chat. Takiva, I see you. Elizabeth, I see you. I see the family chiming in. Belinda, I see you. Imam, I see you. What's good? Yogi, Bazell, what's good? What's up, Bazell? Yo, that's crazy. I was at the pizza shop late night, like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I see my Benjamin Bazell. Salute to the God, Bazell. Out on a late night chilling. Eric, I see you. All right, so we're going to chime in. We got the sister on deck. You know what I mean? She's in the back room. I'm about to introduce her in a minute. But you know how we do. Create a gang in the building. And keep in mind, you know, we got diverse people in here, man. Not everybody on the same page with the knowledge. Everybody going to take diverse routes to get to creator. And we got to learn to respect that. You see what I'm saying? Look at the challenge that we walked through when we first started this journey. Some of us came through Christianity. Some of us came through Islam. Some of us came through the Kemetic doctrine, Gnostic, atheism, you know what I mean? Now we're claiming to be faithism. So it's a journey to finding and seeking creator. It doesn't end with the Owasso. We know that. It's a continuous growth. It's a continuous cycle. You dig? So nonetheless, I'm going to bring on the sister, Sister Sophia, in the building. What it do, sis? How you doing? Bam.
Peace and blessings, and namaste. I'm here in the building. I want to do a disclaimer first, okay? And this disclaimer is that my views, my opinions, my experience does not represent everybody in the CGG gang, okay? This is my own personal journey, and I'm just here to enlighten people, who are interested in learning it. And the second disclaimer is my name, okay? Because I have been getting so many questions concerning the Dragon Lotus Meta Spiritual Society. So I want to break that down for you guys, okay? I call myself a dragon because I breathe fire, okay? That's why I go about the dragon. I breathe fire. I speak my truth, and it is what it is, right? And then Lotus is about transformation. It's about enlightenment. And if you look at the lotus flower, it actually represents the pineal gland, when it starts to open up. So that's why I named it Dragon Lotus. It has nothing to do with me being a Dracos, which I was accused of before. It has nothing to do with that. Meta spiritual is spirituality taken to another level. Okay. And society means that everybody is welcome. So I'm Dragon Lotus Meta Spiritual Society.
Now y'all have it. So don't be asking if she a Drake or a reptilian and all that crazy
I've
stuff.
been accused
You know what I mean? Yeah. And people don't understand this is like, we come from the hip hop era. So we use words metaphorically, you know what I'm saying, abstractly. So people gotta understand that. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's deep. So all right. So let's first start off with religion. You know what I mean? What is your religious journey? You know what I mean? What did you start with? To where did you stop that and then started your ascension spiritually?
Okay. So with most people, we are born into a background of one type of religion or another. So mine was Christianity, very, very heavy. I needed God. I needed God at a very early age because, or let's say the creator, I forgot what group I'm talking to. Okay. The creator at a very early age, because I was already enlightened. Okay. So I kind of came in here. I was seeing things that my grandparents couldn't see. My mother couldn't see, I'm thinking that they're playing games with me, but I already entered in this. So church was already in my family. So I have pastors that's on my mother's side, pastors that's on my father's side. It was very easy for me to walk down that path. I became obsessed with the Bible at the age of 10. Okay. And one of the books that I used to read over and over again was the book of Revelations. And everybody thought that I was cuckoo, because as a kid, I didn't know what those meant. I didn't know that was symbolic, but I would try to draw like beasts with 7 heads and all types of things like that. So I grew up in church, became a Sunday school teacher, then I became ordained as a minister. Then I started preaching myself. But I knew even while I was a Christian, I wasn't a normal type of Christian. Okay. There was things that they will teach you how to think when it comes down to scriptures in the Bible. And I always had my own thoughts about it. Okay. So when I would see contradictions and say, okay, well, why is this saying this one way? And then it's saying something else completely there. They would always brush it up. Oh, that's how God works. We're not supposed to question it. Right. I always had questions. Okay. Right. I don't believe that the creator gave us these brilliant minds for us not to use it, to be able to discern something. So, I went down that path for a while. Then I wanted to go a little bit deeper. Things wasn't messing. And I kind of started figuring out the inner workings of the church, being clergy myself. We would travel places and it would always be about, how much money your church is raising, how many conversions, how many baptisms, how much. And if your pastor wasn't raising enough money, they would switch them out. Like they would switch them out to a better pastor to get more money in. Right. Wow. So one thing that I've always taken seriously was, my walk with the creator. That was not something I never played with. So later on, I said, something's wrong. Something's wrong here. I was standing in lines, while I was at church. People will come up and pray. They have an issue. I pray with them. They come back the next week with the same issue. There's something that we're not doing right. We're not teaching them, how to preserve these things, how to actually apply all of these tenets that we're preaching in their everyday life. So when I wanted to do something different, I said, okay. I said a prayer. I said, Creator, take me as far back as you possibly can. I need to know how we got to this point today. Okay. And that started my journey. So I ended up going to Seventh-day Adventists because I wanted to honor the Sabbath. When I figured out that the Seventh-day Adventist was nothing but the Christian church on a Saturday, that didn't work for me. Okay, so then I ended up going to Messianic temples and trying to be a Messianic Jew. I was saying the Torah and all of that stuff, had my hair covered, all of that, but I wasn't getting fulfilled spiritually. Like nobody could really answer some of the questions that I was having going on in my own personal journey, right? So then after that, I come across the Hebrew Israelites, right? And this one on YouTube, they're out in the corner, they're cussing everybody out, right? And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what type of spirit is this? But I was glued to it because some of the things that they were saying actually started to make sense to me. Okay. So when it started making sense, about, our people and the travel, then I became glued to that until I realized that some of that doctrine was just dysfunctional. Okay. Distorted is a better word to say it. So, I would have questions like this to them. All right. If you're going to say that the original elves were, all men, and that the Elohim made us in their image and their likeness, what image or likeness was the woman created in? Okay, because it's not just about the physical appearance. We don't even think the same. We don't function the same. We're here to balance one another. So what would have been the image that created the woman? Oh, nothing. I couldn't get direct answers for that. So that's when I started, going into my own prayers and meditation. Like I need to unlock some of these things. After that, I ended up finding you. Okay. Now I found you because I was having these, experiences with these beings, these beings in purple robes, these beings in white robes, these beings in gold robes, would come, watch over, talk. They were all melanated beings. I did not see any white looking beings until 2020. So that's interesting too. But my entire life, they were all melanated beings, some very, very tall, some very short. Now, how am I going to, explain this? They did not look like they were ghosts, they looked like they were elves or ancestors. So I knew that there was a hierarchy in place, but I did not know how to explain it. And the best way for me that I got to understand the hierarchy was dealing with Paul. When he's talking about we don't battle just against flesh, but then he goes through the powers, the principalities, the rulers, et cetera, et cetera. So I knew that was happening because I saw it in real life, in real time, but I couldn't explain it. And then I run into Selah, and the first video that pops up is the one where he actually has the breakdown of Creator, God, Lord God, all of that breakdown. And then I started becoming glued to the Owasso. Okay, now this is making sense. I did not go to the Owasso because of my religious background. I went to the Owasso to make sense of what it was that I was experiencing. And it didn't take me to have to read the entire book to get the fundamental principles that I was needing on my journey to walk forward. Okay. So after all of this, I realized one thing. We're all on different levels of understanding. The Bible was one of the basics of understanding. I always say it's a baby book. It's a children's book to me. Okay. And if you can follow the breadcrumbs, you can hear the Creator speaking there. One of the things that got me was, I think it was Jeremiah 7. Okay. When you hear the Creator saying, I never ordered, your forefathers to do in matters of sacrifices and burnt offerings. All I asked was y'all to be obedient. Obedient is better than sacrifice. Okay, so where did the Levitical priesthood come in? Okay, what deity was behind that? So, having questions like that and then trying to figure out, I'm asking other people, well, what do you think? They're not going to give me the answer, so I had to go within to get those answers. So that's my journey in a nutshell.
Ah, man, that's dope right there.
It's a lot.
That's powerful.
It's a lot.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. But I noticed at one point you was heavy into the Sumerian and the cuneiform, because when I met you, I was going in on the cuneiform.
Yeah.
So would you agree that or disagree that the cuneiform, a lot of those like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Amuna Elish, would you agree or disagree that a lot of that stuff the Bible copied?
It's absolutely. Yes, it copied it. When I was into that journey, it was because of a vision that I had. Now, this was during the time that I was dealing with the Hebrew Israelites, right? Very heavy. And I had a very smart elder. He wasn't like the ones that you see on other channels where everything was about the Bible. He was into metaphysics. He was into higher levels of consciousness, things of that nature. So he was brilliant. He used to send me books, that you couldn't no longer they wasn't easily accessible. Let's say that, because he thought that I was a good student. Right. So one time, I'm sitting down, I am a gamer, so I will play Call of Duty.
You be on your game? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I be on my gaming too.
I will do that. So I'm sitting down and I'm playing this game, and then I'm whisked away. Now, this is what happens in the mind. Okay. So what's going on was I was on this playground and it was all these little kids and they were playing around, and a tornado was starting to come. And I started panicking because I didn't know what to do. Then after that, I ended up somewhere underground. And when I was underground, it was like these, they're not prison cells, but it was these blocks of cells that was made out of clay, and they had Hebrew writing on them. And so as if these were the names of whatever beings was behind it. They were teaching me, you know, how to use chi energy to move the tornado. So I come back and I'm doing that with the tornado, and then I see a rock behind me. This rock had in Hebrew El Elyon and 2 tetragrammatons, right? So I'm looking at that like, okay, 2 tetragrammatons, 2 Yahwehs. I call my elder on the phone and I say, hey, I just had a vision that there was a rock, and at the top of the rock, it was shaped like a pyramid. It said El Elyon, and then it had 2 tetragrammatons, 2 Yahwehs. My elder says, oh my God, you know, the only person that could have revealed that to you would have been the creator. You know, we're going to call you Navia now. So that's how I got my name, Navia. I never named myself that, you know, between him and my ex, that Navia came around. So that's when I found out, okay, so what is the 2 Yahwehs? I get into ancient cuneiform, right? I'm going through the Lost Book of Enki, the Lost Realms, you know, I had a whole collection of books like this, and I'm paying attention to the Enki and Enlil story. And as I'm starting to read that story, I'm saying, wait a minute, these are the same characters that are in our Bibles right now. We got Ziasudra, you know what I mean? That we have all of these characters, but the story was more in depth, right? Now, so I'm starting to realize that there was actually 2 Yahwehs, and I'm thinking that one is the inverse of the other. You know, like we would have Jehovah in the upright, or we would have Jehovah in the upright, Yahweh in the downright. Okay, it was like, and during that time, you know, in the Old Testament, of course, we knew that the elves were just battling for supremacy. They were battling for supremacy. They was battling for, you know, lost souls and things of that nature. They were supposed to do one thing, but they did not do that. Okay, they did not uplift us back to the creator. They got big, you know, big headed. It's kind of like, did y'all see that meme where it was on Family Guy? I thought it was so funny. It was a regular pig, and he's in a pen with all these guinea pigs. And the guinea pigs are like this size compared to him. And he looks around and goes, well, I see who's in charge here. You know, that type of thing our ancestors was doing. So, you know, that's how I got into that. And it was a lot of encoding in there that I start seeing trends and cycles. Trends and cycles. Okay. One of the trends and cycles, you know, in the Lost Book of Enki, they were talking about what the king of the north marrying the queen of the south. You see that replay over in Solomon, you know, the king of the north, the queen of the south. Like you start to see trends and patterns.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I got there.
Oh, that's powerful, yo. You going in right now. I told you, man. Yo, sister ain't no joke. Sister, no joke. No joke. Yeah. She got the knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So that's interesting. So with these different religious journeys, right?
Yeah.
What is your feeling about the gods of these, like the God? Are these gods helping your ascension, or are these gods limiting your ascension?
Here's where it's going to get a little controversial for your channel. Okay.
Let's run it.
So I'm just warning everybody out there now in advance. Do you remember in the Owasso where Anu Hassaj was acting a donkey, and his brothers and sisters kept coming to talk to him to try to get him on the right path? Right. That's somewhat of what I do here on this journey. Okay. So when I tell you guys, I have no fear, no delusions, no none of that, it's because I do recognize them as family. Now, if they're family of the light, beautiful. If they're family of the dark, I help them. You know, I'm going to assist. I'm going to listen. Now, there comes a point in the Owasso where they're talking about, you know, how none of them can ascend until they correct everything that they have done. They have to speak the truth now. I'm looking at this day and age, and I'm seeing that happen. So the reason why you don't hear me talking negatively about the ancestors or the Elohim in the past, is because I'm watching the journey and what they're doing now. I can't judge them from back there. That's not unconditional love. Okay. So when I got to these higher states of consciousness, that I knew that I was there because I can't hate anymore. Not saying that I don't want to. Okay. Because sometimes there's some people that you want to be off with their heads, right? I can't hate anymore. Only thing that I can feel is empathy, agitation, maybe aggravation. I can be upset, but I can't hate. That's my family. Some of them have to ascend, okay? And even with what people don't even realize is the Owasso book itself was one of the ways that they were trying to correct this, okay? So even with that book that has been inspired by, a few of the Elohim, not just one, this was their way of starting to introduce from one religion, out of it. The issue that we have as humans, and humanity is we have to be very careful not to substitute one form of religion for another. Facts. Because if you do that, then what you have now done was made the Owasso a religion, and you become dependent on that.
Facts.
The books that we are, experiencing, the books that we are reading, they're for edification purposes. They help me a whole lot. But when it comes down to, the Elohim now, I see them as positive. I see them as, trying to do their work here, trying to correct these things. You can see the Reformation in the churches. You can see Hebrew Israelites, waking up and going, okay, we used to think that, but not that. These are the elves doing that. So I can't demonize them. I can't go at it like, false gods and this, that, and the third. They were, but I don't believe that they are now. So when it comes down to, my personal ascension, in my journeys, I get that level of understanding because it's a law of correspondence. I'm no longer bound to moral law. I went through that process already. Okay. And now I'm no longer bound to, I don't want to say it like earth and atmospherian law. I went through that process already. Okay. So now the process that I am is of the highest law. That highest law is unconditional love. Once you have the ability to say to yourself, okay, Hasatan, you messed up. What are we doing now? Okay, brother, I need you to go home. And I'm not scared of the devil. I'm not scared of a Lucifer. I'm not scared of those people. I'm talking to them like they are family, and in exchange, they're helping me understand and kind of, what's the word? Solve riddles, the things that go on here. I have given me higher revelation, higher knowledge. They're family to me. So, no, I think they're here to help now. And I think that they have no other choice, or they're going to be bound here. They have no other choice. But most of the deities, or whatnot, that I'm speaking with, they always point to Creator. It's like no, says they're scared, So no, they are really scared. So it's fun.
No, that's an excellent answer because although we'll beat up on the false gods just for play, but we do understand that the false gods are on a redemptive class.
Right.
And like you say, everything happening now is a revelation to reveal. So even when we beat it up on the false gods, Luamung like, good job for exposing me, because the more you expose me, the quicker I can get up out of here. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like really
They really want to correct this, guys. They really do. And I had to ask myself, when it came down to operating under the highest law, if you have a creator, of the universe, a creator of all, right? If his children was so much of a problem, wouldn't he have destroyed them already?
Exactly.
No, he loves them. Okay. So I take my mind out of thinking like, on a lower level. And now I think and process information as an L. Okay. I have already accepted that I'm here as an LOI, that there's a certain group that I'm supposed to teach. Everybody's not going to rock with me. Everybody's not going to understand the things that I'm saying. But for those who get it, you get it. And you'll know it, you'll feel it like you'll get goosebumps, when you're talking about things like this. So yeah, when it comes down to that religion, we're all kind of on different journeys. Oh, let me answer your question. You asked me also, what was it? Do I think that it's hurting us? Wait a minute, ask that question again earlier. I think I lost track.
What you talking about? What the God said? Do you think the gods are helping our ascension or limiting our ascension?
They're actually helping us. Our minds are still in the past. Okay, so they're actually helping us. We have to be the ones that say, okay, I see what you're doing, creator. Okay, I'm going to stop this track and I'm going to start moving, because that's what they're here to do now. Yeah, I think that they're helping. Now, go ahead.
No, you was about to say now. Go ahead.
When it comes down to, is religion necessary?
Okay. Touch on it. Speak on it. Is religion now? Matter of fact, I'm gonna update it. Is religion necessary in 2020?
Okay, you're going to have to repeat that because you froze and we couldn't hear you.
Oh no, I was just saying. Is it necessary to follow the Sabbath? Is it necessary to wake up on Sunday? Is it necessary to worship Jesus in 2023 in this new millennium? Is religion necessary?
I'm going to put it like this. If you recognize that you are a part of the Creator, right? And a part of his, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you guys something. I have to use my phone because we was having technical difficulties. Of course, anytime that I try to connect with him, this is what happens. That's funny. But I recognize that I'm part of the Creator, right? My life is an expression of the Creator in everything that I do. But I do understand that some people have to take this track because it's practice. It's practice. Like anything that you do, like traditionally, ritualistically. Like I even talk about these things. Like people, Native Americans, they smudge, right? They smudge and they cleanse, everything around them. And you know what? That can work, but really it's the intention of the person that's doing the smudging. But what we're doing is learning how to practice our mind. We're training our minds and our spirituality to think and operate a certain way. It's going to depend on where you are in your walk, okay? There's some people that don't know righteousness. I mean, they have no idea what it is. Like, they don't know that it's wrong to steal, or it's wrong to shoot somebody in the face, or it's wrong to, be covet something, or whatever. There's people that don't know righteousness. What are we supposed to do with them if there's nobody to teach them? So to me, it's like baby steps. There's baby steps going on. And the people who need religion should go. They should try it, just to get the tenets, the introduction to who the Creator is. But religion is not necessary to experience the Creator. Those are two different things. One gives you knowledge of it. Now the other one is now your walk. And what is righteousness about, right? How we're thinking, how we're processing, information. That's all of that really is. And learning the highest law. All creation comes from it. Anything that you put your hands to, whether you're an artist, whether you're a pianist, whatever it is that you put your heart into, anything that you create is an extension of yourself, and you're proud of it. It's done out of love, so that's how I experience the Creator on my everyday journey.
And you said something key too, because experience is the best teacher.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's like if you experience angelic experience, some people think angels are mythical, and and I think the reason they tell it mythical is because of the word angel and what we grew up to know as the word angel, as a little white baby flying with wings.
Right.
And we realized that an angel ain't nothing more than our ancestors, those who has passed on.
Right.
And like you described some of them as glorious.
Yeah.
Some of our ancestors, when they cross over and they're recent spirits of the dead, they'll appear in their normal clothing as they was on the earth plane. But then when you come across the more exalted ancestors, you'll find them robed out, like how you were describing earlier. Show that they've been in the realm a little longer, show their sign of authority, even through the dress code.
Right. Right.
So like So like when you was talking about them L's earlier, I'm like, oh, okay, you dealing with the gods. And
Yeah.
you getting download from the gods. See,
Yeah.
the books are indirect inspiration from creator. The direct inspiration from creator comes as natural download, as like how you flowing right now. No book, you going through no book. That's direct download from creator.
Right.
Through the ancestors. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
In comparison to going through a chapter and verse, reading the chapter and verse, explaining the chapter and verse, that's more indirect inspiration. Although you could get inspiration from the creator like that, but the greatest inspiration comes from direct download. That's what
right.
Janubro got. That's how we got the Owasso, because he got a direct download. He was told, like, yo, write this. I'm like, all right, let me write this. Next, you know, we over here investigating this information like bonkers. Like, how he get this?
Right.
And it was direct download.
That's right. That's right.
So you on a great journey dealing with experience and direct download. That's how we get the revelations from the spirit world.
And it's interesting because, you know, sometimes I speak, I am writing my second book, you know, and this one is really going to deal with, you know, the consciousness and the realms of thought, so that we can help in our ascension journey, balancing out some dualities, you know, getting things, heart and mind, into balance, you know, cleansing ourselves by facing our shadow. You know, I had to do a lot of work to get to this point. Okay. And this is why not something that I asked for. Okay. Because it ruined my life. I was like, it did. Like, I lost friends, I lost family. You know, I had to go through this by myself. You know, I had to purge a lot of things, but it becomes hypocritical because I speak like this. Okay, and if it's not in tune with something that somebody is reading, then I may be false to them. But at the same time, that new person, that the book that you're reading, they had a new revelation that took you from the Bible. So what makes these people that are writing these books any different from us who are just speaking it? Okay. If you're going to say that channeling, you know, is wrong or evil or weird or something like that, don't even look at the fact how I'm getting the information. I need you to discern the information that I'm speaking. Okay. Because the reality is we're going to know each other basically by our fruits. Now, that's one thing I do believe that the Bible is real. I can discern somebody's character by the way they talk to you, by the way they act, you know, I can discern that, you know, where they are in their journey from that. So just pay attention to what it is that I'm saying instead of judging it against what somebody else experienced or their downloads are. We are here having all of these different experiences, and the creator is broad. He's vast. To some, he might give revelation of the Owasso, become masters of it. I wouldn't debate Cosmin Kyle. I wouldn't debate you, you know, when it comes down to the Owasso. To some, he's given that mastery to. That's a specific walk to help people get out of that, right? To others, he may say, hey, I'll give you mastery over crystals and herbs. That's a specific journey, still coming from the creator. To others, it may be, hey, I give you the keys to unlock ancient knowledge or Gnosticism, you know, breaking codes and things. That's what I'll do. That's my specific journey. But it was never designed for us to be combative with one another. Okay, each one teach one. We perfect ourselves as a whole, right? So that's why I can't limit my experiences based off of somebody else's. I just can't do it. You know?
That's an excellent.
I'm just running.
No. That's what the people want to hear. They want to hear you spit that knowledge because they know you got it. And through your speaking displays your experience in the knowledge. You don't sound like somebody that's new to this. You sound like somebody that's true to this. You feel me? Yeah. Walking this journey for a minute. You know what I mean? Oh. So let me see here. As far as ascension, what would you classify ascension? You know, some people classify ascension based off of diet. Some people classify ascension based off of letting go of the deities and, you know what I mean, seeing more of the creator. Some people claim feel that ascension is dealing with the ancestors, like a lot of Kemetics. They left the religion and came back to the Kemetic and dealing with the ancestors and stuff like that. So what is ascension to you?
Ascension is gravitation to a higher level of consciousness and thought. Okay. So when it comes down to how we are ascending, okay, all right. I like to use this example a lot because it makes the most sense, right? Okay. Do you have a little one? How old are your babies?
What, 20, 21?
No.
Are you talking
Oh,
about
so you
little
don't have
children?
any small children?
Nah.
Okay. So, well, anyway, okay. So say you have a small child, right?
Okay.
Your child is like 2 years old, 3 years old. Mommy in the kitchen cooking, right? Little toddler walks in there, wants to touch the stove. Pop. No. Stove is hot. You're not allowed to touch it, okay? That's a law. That's a law that was established by you to your child, right? Now that becomes the law of the house. The kid knows not to touch it. Now the child gets a little bit older, right? Preteen. Okay, they can come in and make hot dogs or make eggs or something like that. So we just went away with a lower law and we gravitated to a higher law. Now the law in that house now is, hey, you can make this, and that, but don't fry chicken, because if you fry chicken, you're gonna pop yourself, right? So we go through that phase. Now, then they become teenagers, they can fry chicken, but then there are some who says, I want to go to culinary school. Does the law even apply to them anymore? No, it does not, right? So not only have they superseded the laws on the level that they were once operating in based off of their level of consciousness and understanding, but by the time they go to culinary school, they have mastery over it. And that's what ascension is. That's what true ascension is. We don't just keep on being dependent on anything that is taught to us, even though there's a lot of truth in it. We can piggyback off of those things, right? That is our foundation. But all foundations are meant to be built upon. And so we start gravitating by mastering each level of consciousness and overcoming each law till we get to the highest law. Once you get to the highest law, you automatically know how to function on this earth because you are personified with the creator. You are now a logos. Okay. Not only are you in tune with them, but you can talk, you can communicate with them. You can give opinions. You can say, oh, no, I don't think that you should do that. That type of thing. And you can help co-create on this realm, but you have to go through the steps. And it does there is no easy way to do this. That's the best way that I can say it. There's no easy way to do this except for your journey, your experience, and learning how to reconcile paradoxes. That's very, very important.
That was an excellent breakdown. I like how you broke it down from the elementary level of getting burnt, touching that fire, that stove, and then moving on up. That's an excellent breakdown of ascension. And then the crazy thing, like, you said you went to culinary art school. And then from culinary art school, you can open up your own business.
That's right.
Your own business, you can hire people. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a never ending. Ascension is really a never ending journey.
Right.
It's just it's just like we on Earth. We're on the lowest plane, the Earth plane, and then from the Earth plane to the atmospheric plane, and from the atmospheric plane to the etheric plane, and then from the etheric plane, just visiting and going and learning as you go throughout the endless cosmos. Always something to ascend to. You see what I'm saying? And then Creator has no limit. So we can't even reach Creator. We're just gonna keep expanding into creation.
That's right.
Endlessly. I'm like, God dang, can't beat that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So why do we limit ourselves? Right?
Exactly.
Why do we limit ourselves in various states of understanding? Yes, there are laws, and each law is true, right? Each law is true. Mm-hmm. But each law is true based on that grade. Okay. Right. So what you may have, what the Creator may be saying to you is taboo. You can't do that, or you're not supposed to do that, or something like that might not be true to the next person who's already went the fire to get to where they are. Right. And I'm telling you, shadow work was a big part of this. Okay. Going back into childhood, healing, doing meditations, talking to my younger self, telling her it's okay. You're not weak. You can be strong. You're not scared. Because I used to be afraid of the dark. Like, that's how bad the experiences are. And I used to get teased by my cousins. They used to say, okay, you still that kid on the sixth sense. I used to get teased like that. So I was a scared child growing up, but when I got into my adulthood, I understood that some of the things that I experienced as a child affected the way that I thought today. And it made me really, really scared, about every little thing. I'm fearless now. I'm dragon. I'm fearless. Okay. So But I had to do the work to do that. I got into a meditation. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it. I use a sympathetic frequency. I got into a meditation, and I went back to try to address my child, my younger self, that was hiding in the corner crying, like wanting to want me to cut on the lights and things like that. And I went to her and I had to speak to her, and like a child would. And I said, no. I said, Sabella, you are so strong. You're so smart. You forgive the people around you. You did not deserve this. You didn't deserve what you went through. This is not your fault. And you are going to be strong. So next time somebody scares you, you say no. And I had my little girl stopping and pushing out her hands. Now we fast forward in time, right? In a spiral. The way that I reprogrammed my younger child helped me with the way I'm dealing and processing information today. So I actually healed myself by getting the fear out back then. And now I'm able to, hey, we're going to journey. We're just going to journey. We're going to go out there. We're going to do what's necessary to get our people free. Yeah.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And Scientology, and that's something. I remember I was studying a little bit of Scientology, and that was something that they'll do called an audit, when they'll kind of let you like think as far back to your work, think as far back to whatever trauma you had, to try to basically exactly what you described is what they require as an audit in Scientology, where you go back and address your past fears so you can deal with them or overcome them today.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's interesting, because at the end of the day, the real battle is within one's own self.
It is.
When you go within and master self, like with me in heights, I can't do heights. I hate planes. I ride planes. I'm always on the plane, but it's like every time I get on the plane, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now you just got to learn to let go. I'm like, hold up, man. People be flying planes every single day, week in, week out. You don't hear about too many plane crashes compared to how you hear about car crashes. But these are all the stepping stones you got to take to overcome, like you say, fear.
Right.
And overcome hatred, because we really can't be fake this if we scream at hate. You see what I'm saying? We know that. So at the end of the day, we who study Owasso know that, we can't come to Creator half-assed. We got to love everybody.
Right.
We ain't got to kiss ass. We ain't got to kiss no white man ass to love him. We can let a nigga from afar. You stay your ass over there, but salute, nigga, I got love for you. You see what I'm saying? We got to kiss ass.
Right.
And then the whole thing of the service done unto others in righteousness, doing good works unto others. I'm like, these are the basic foundations of serving Creator, and it don't require much. It just require for you to exercise your mind, your feet, and your hands, and go within.
That's right.
You got to go within and do good for somebody. You got to contemplate that. Damn, I got to do good for somebody. Or you got to contemplate and do evil to somebody. Everything is a decision within to make the external choice.
That's right. That's right. We're in a realm of nothing but duality. In a realm that is heavily expressed. And it's pretty smart. I mean, if you think about it, because they even taught you, a house divided against itself can't stand, right? So if you're divided within your own mind, double-minded, right? If you're divided within your own self, then you can't get clarity on these things. And everything around you is pointing to duality. It's either black or white. It's up and down. It's Democratic, Republican. It's religion or atheist. It's this or that. And it's always putting you in a mindset to have to side with something, okay? Exactly. And if you have to side with something, you can't unify, okay? I can go around. I have brothers and sisters in every walk of life right now, and I respect them for where they are. And the reason why is because I know that the L's have to force them in whatever spiritual system that they are back to the Creator. So, when I talk to my Nuwaubian brothers, I got Nuwaubian brothers and sisters, Islam, Christians still, okay, Hebrew Israelites, them still my family as well, Egyptologists, Kemet, all of that. None of that matters to me. All I want to know, and all I'm really concerned about is, what are you doing? What's your fruits look like? I don't care what you have to say, what you're studying. What is your fruits? Are you here, for the Creator? Are we here building something? Or are we here just being dysfunctional?
Right.
We're not going to get anywhere as a people being dysfunctional, which is not, So everybody is on their own spiritual journey. And the Creator has appointed who he needs to do what, at this time. And we don't need to be really trying to force anybody to see anything, because it is the creator that actually gives you the keys. So you can't force anybody to think the way that you think. They might have to keep going through that journey over and over again because of something that they did not grasp. They had the form of religion, but maybe not the mindset, maybe not the spirituality. So they're going to get stuck there. Okay. But when you have been given the keys, you just keep going. You know, the only thing you can do is inspire the people behind you. You know, try to lift them up as much, but you can't force it, and you can't get frustrated at it.
Exactly. Interesting. Yeah, you on top of your shit. But let me say, what's your take on because you know, coming up in religion, we start off with Christianity, then for Christianity we have the fluctuate of Islam, or now the popular thing is Hebrew Israelitism. But a lot of people overlook ancient Egypt and the Kemetic literature, all that 4,000 years worth of history. We overlook that to run to a Bible or a book and just don't acknowledge all that history. What is your take on the ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian history? Like, what do you? Because you know, it's kind of conflicting, because you have some who don't believe in the deities of ancient Egypt. You have some who say that the deities are aspects of nature. Then you got the literature, what they wrote, what it is. So, what is your take on the Kemetic civilization?
The same take that I have on all of them. I do believe that when it comes down to creator, there are emanations of him. Okay, so I want to say it this way. Say any emotion that you can experience while you're walking your life can be personified, okay, or become an emanation. So we may have one that is all about love. We may have one that's more focused on knowledge. We may have one that's more focused on destruction, okay? Because believe it or not, even the gods, the destroyer gods, still have a place in this universe. It's to balance things out, you know? So we say, oh no, stay away from this one. This one is dark. But in the higher viewpoint, darkness might be necessary at this time to purge a certain, you know, people or place or thing. So that's what I meant about being fearless. So when it comes down to Egypt, I think that they were brilliant in technology. Okay. I think that they were brilliant in literature. I think that they were way beyond, you know, what we have going on now. I'm of the mindset that, you know, I don't think that they're an aspect of nature. Okay. I do think that they were beings, but I do believe that what the Owasso said, when it comes down to having the ability to wrap yourself up in flesh and look like what you want to, you know, after a certain time. So that's why we are seeing, you know, the heads and all of that stuff. But this is just symbolic, you know, how they want to present themselves. That's not actually how they look, but it's symbolic for something that they're studying. You know, so that's how I look at it. I think the pyramids were healing chambers. They were ways to connect upwards, like the Tower of Babel and things like that. Spaceports, you know, all of that. I think that's what our people were on. Now, whatever deity didn't like it, started their mess. Okay, we had to pay for that. Okay, so now we're on the redemptive path now. But yeah. I have no problems with Kemet. I like it all.
Indeed. Okay.
And I love Hinduism too. That's even, you know. That's wild.
Matter of fact, the brother Bronze Yogi, he's definitely into the Hindu scriptures. He's pretty familiar with the Sanskrit, and because he practiced like a lot of the breathing techniques.
Yeah,
he's like Bronze Yogi in the chat and the Creator Gang. Yeah, if you want to talk about Hinduism, he speaks on that. He studied it pretty extensively, and we'll, every now and then you'll hear us talk about it in the chat, especially like with the breathing techniques.
Yeah, the difference between, you know, the East and the West, right? When it comes down to what some would claim serpent knowledge, right, is over there they learned or was learning very early on self-mastery. We learned dependency. Those two are not the same. Okay, they both acknowledge a creator. They do. You know, Hindus have a chief deity just like everybody else has a chief deity. So it's not like they're atheists. But when it comes down to, you know, those type of religions, they focus a lot on self-mastery. Get yourself together. You know, learn how to balance this. Get out of these states of consciousness. Get out of these lower states. They taught you that. Over here, it was okay. I'm just going to pray to Jesus and everything is going to be okay. But I'm gonna walk around this world and act a donkey. You know what I mean? So that's why I gravitate to that a little bit more, because I like doing the work. I like learning each year. I want to do something different, or I want to not be the same as the previous year. You know, we're not going to be perfect, right? Everybody's going to make mistakes. But if you can at least try to stop making the same mistakes twice, then you got a new mistake that you can make. There's no point in sitting around in cycles and doing the same things over and over again. I got bigger mistakes to make later on in life.
Right.
So yeah.
Facts. Mistakes is always going to be in a part of the journey.
Yeah.
Because that leads to perfection. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Your perfection comes from trial and error, mishaps, mistakes, errors. All that comes before perfection.
Right.
Sure. All right. You want to take some questions and answers?
Sure, they can come in. Sure.
If y'all got any questions, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. If y'all want to come in, or if y'all want to drop a comment, let me know if you got a question for the sister. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Controversial too, but I rock out.
I know.
What is your take on reincarnation?
Oh, that is a little bit of controversial. Okay. All right. So in the past, we had the halls of Amenti, right? And have you ever studied or read the Emerald Tablets?
A long time ago, but I can't recall too much of it. No.
Okay.
But I did have it in my possession at one time.
Our ancestors, when they became earthbound, right? They couldn't ascend anymore. They was on the earth acting donkey or whatnot, couldn't ascend. So they established, the halls of Amenti. It was during a time, that particular time where if you had passed, you actually go into those halls and they would recycle you and give you new life. But that's only for the earthbound, okay? When it comes down to the cosmic bound, then there is no reincarnation. Once we leave here, we just keep going, okay? But if you have not made it past this earth realm, yes, you can go through cycles like that. And those are called karmic cycles. Those are called karmic cycles because if this is earth school and you're not learning anything, how can the creator allow you to inhabit higher levels of consciousness with a base level mentality? If we're not spiritually mature, we're knowledgeable, okay? We're knowledgeable, but are we spiritually mature? So yes, that did happen. That happened in the past. And even in some Buddhist teachings, they will show you, like they was pointing up to the moon, that there was another recycling center there, okay? Mm-hmm. And so souls would go there and they would come back down, or they would go to, another planet. That's dependent on whether they're in karma or dharma. Right, so that's how that works. So
hey, I like that breakdown. I like that. All right, you got a couple questions. I'm gonna raise it on the Somebody asks, can you see the screen? Can you see the
No, because I'm on my phone now.
Oh,
I couldn't get my laptop to work.
I'll read the question. This is the first question that came in. Ask her what her nose ring represents.
My who?
He said, ask her what her nose ring represents.
Oh no, this is just fashion. I just like it.
Oh, okay. But there go, yes. All right, here go another question. Okay. What's the name of her first book?
Rise of the Ezra Kenegdo, the spiritual awakening of the Black woman.
Is it where can they find it at?
They can find it on Amazon. You could just type it in. But I didn't promote it because I was scared to promote it, guys. This is so funny.
Good. Let me tell you something. They'll buy the book right now. They'll buy it right now. Last time the brothers, we had Satan on here, and they brought his book right there on the spot. So, you know what I mean? What's the name of it again?
I want to clarify that book. That book was targeting the camps. It was a lot. It wasn't for everybody, right? But when I was going through being a Hebrew Israelite, I had a powerful elder with me, like I told you, and I had some very sharp brothers that was around us, and we were, building, things, United Nations of Israel, all of that stuff, right? So we had to fight against some of these cheesy camps that was like marrying women by putting their names on a napkin, sleeping with them. You know, I was getting phone calls from women that was in that camp. Oh, he shaved my head. He pissed in my mouth. You know, all types of things were going on. So we were like in a spiritual war during that time. And I had to go ahead and put that book out so that I can free some of these women so they could actually understand what the Ezer Kenegdo stood for. Okay, how this wasn't just, you know, we're not here to just be subservient like that. We have been given a brilliant mind to, you know, help our counterparts. You know, we're supposed to help each other. So I had to do all of the breakdown, the Hebrew breakdown of that, and I told a story, you know. So it's a little bit of edutainment because I made up this story.
It's okay. I got about like 4 or 5 questions. Where can they find it on Amazon? They're looking to get it now. What's the name of the book again? I'm gonna type in Amazon and I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
Rise of the Ezer Kenegdo, the spiritual awakening of the Black woman.
Hold on. Rise of the, how you spell the Ezer Kenegdo? How you spell that?
EZERKENEGDO.
Rise of the Ezer. What's the last part of it?
Kenegdo. That's the term. That's the Hebrew way of helpmeet.
Hold on. What's the second part of the book?
The spiritual awakening of the Black woman. I mean, you should see a woman rising out the ashes.
Say it again.
On the book cover, you should see a woman that's rising out the ashes like a phoenix. I would put it in the chat, but I'm on my phone and I can't do it.
No. I'm gonna do it now. Hold on. Just tell me the full title of it one more time. Damn, I didn't. You know.
Okay, RIZE, rise.
RIZE. Okay, RIZE. All right, rise. I got it.
You got it. Okay, so.
No. I mean, I got rise because I was spelling it with an S. You said you spell it with a Z, though, right?
Yes, I did that on purpose. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I just want to make sure. I want to type it in right, so when I pull it up, I can drop the link in it. So it's rise of what?
The Ezer Kenegdo, EZER.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. KEN. EGDO.
Okay.
The spiritual awakening of the Black woman. So while he's doing that, so that book was basically for a specific group of people, and it was for these women that were trapped in these false marriages, this polygamy, that were being abused. And it was my way of letting them know what their worth is. Like, for instance, people always, you know, the Hebrew Israelites were always talking about the virtuous woman, right? And when they talk about the virtuous woman, they give this depiction of, you know, the woman sitting around in the house, you know, sewing and, you know, just being subservient. But if you actually go back and read that, there's a power behind that woman. This is a woman that is not only, you know, good with a home, but a businesswoman as well. Okay, she's out there with the merchants. Remember, back then the Hebrew Israelites were saying that women couldn't do business with men. Oh, okay, but you're using the same Bible. You're not reading it the same way. You can't see what I'm seeing. Okay, they're out there with the merchants. You know, they're conducting business. They're buying property. So this is a woman that can balance both her home life and her business life. This is a brilliant woman. Okay, this is what she does. And not only is she powerful in that vein, but it also tells you that she brings glory to her husband. Like, the husband is known by his wife. All right, not the other way around. So these were some of the things that I had to pour out so that these women can know their worth and break themselves out of that. That was a serious book right there. And I was talking about the Torah filters, how people, remember when I said earlier on the show, we like to approach things subjectively instead of objectively. Okay, so a lot of times we're reading the Bible and we're making it fit what we already think is supposed to work, you know, or we're reading certain texts and we already have a mind frame. But if you step back and look at it, say we take all of this experience and all of this Christianity out and you just read the book, I guarantee you it will read differently. Anything, if you could be objective, it would read, a lot of things would read completely different. So this was my cry to the woman, you know, so they can get out of this. I had a sister tell me that a man had put a sword to her throat.
Damn, all this in the Israelite congregation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing some wild stories about the camps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like the heads, they got to straighten that out, man. Like
some of them are, you know, and big up to them, you know, if they've elevated past that, because during this time, this was about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, you know, they were still coming out, probably still smelling themselves, you know, but now, you know, they're starting to do a lot better too. So you know, I'm not going to bash all of them. Some of them are still in that thinking, okay, when it's time for them to get out of it, they will. All right. Am I going to be the catalyst of it? Probably not. I'm just going to move on. But yeah, that was for them. That was for those women, you know. And in that book, I do talk about the balance, you know, the balance of the masculine, feminine, you know, in all of our walks of life. So, but it was fun.
Interesting. So you got a couple of people in Amazon telling me they got in a Amazon account and the Amazon chart. You know what I mean? Their little cart. I mean, the cart. Yeah.
Oh,
so, yeah,
thank you guys. I wish I could see the chat, but I can't.
Yeah, you're gonna get you some sales. So it's another question. It's from Bronze Yogi. He said, "Ask her what her take is on the term occult."
It's just hidden knowledge. All it means to me is hidden. You know, I don't believe that everybody should have access to it. Now, this was something that I had weighed back and forth heavily in my journey, right, for a long time. When it comes down to the term occult, it's just hidden knowledge. It's something that's not really brought out to the masses. And then I started to understand why. You can really corrupt yourself. If you do not have the right spirit, the things that you're learning, you know, could actually, and I've witnessed people get corrupted in that manner. So I don't think that it's for everybody. I believe that you have to be called to that. And by the time you actually are called to that, you would have already developed a level of understanding to know what is good for you and what you need to leave alone. But it's a way for me to navigate behind the veil. That's the best way that I can express it. Like what we have in front of us, the whole world sees, but what's behind it, the shadow, is the occult. That's how I look at it.
I like that. Got another question. Asks, when she acknowledged herself being a dragon.
Oh, that's the question. When did I?
Says when she, I guess, like, when did she acknowledge herself being a dragon?
When I saw myself as one. That's the best way to answer that. So when we...
But you gave a good explanation earlier. I ain't gonna lie. When you said bringing that fire, and that's what is key. But I always know you for bringing that fire. From the time I met you, you was always rah, 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 hitting them with that fire. You know what I mean?
I've changed so much from then. I don't
when I see the dragon, that shit only makes sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
I'm a fire-breathing dragon, but I also saw myself in that form as well. In an astral travel, but it was kind of silver. It was silver and shiny. I've seen a lot of dragons. I've actually seen about 12, you know, in a row. But they weren't evil. They weren't dark. They were kind of like creator type beings, you know, like very, very ancient type beings. I just feel like that form that we take sometimes that resemble the dragon was based off the constellations. That's what I asked before. I said, okay, why do we take on these forms? You know, when I was in a meditation and I saw constellations. So, you know, that's how they wanted to present themselves. And I guess that's how I present myself too.
Facts.
I don't know.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts. So we got another one. Ask the sister. She heard of Dr. On Leo Love Alston? I'm not sure. Dr.
Oh, Only Love. Absolutely. I remember her. Okay, so when I was a Hebrew, Only Love, when I was a Hebrew Israelite, she and I had started bringing out the Ezra Connecto, and she was on the same journey, but I think that she was doing it with the church. I think she actually got the book too. I'm not sure, but we were also, if that sister knows her, I'm wondering if she remembers when I started that Zadok Priestess Torah Institute. You know, it was a Facebook group, and it was a whole bunch of women we were coming together, and we were, breaking down the Torah, and things of that nature. I met Only Love through that on Facebook. So yeah, I know exactly who she is, and that's my sister.
The person said, that's my brother Zechariah who asked the question. Zechariah, he said he remind you of her.
Yes, I know exactly who she is. Absolutely.
I got another question from the brother Lucy. This is Lucy from back in the day. This Lucy asking the question.
Okay.
What's her take on astrology?
Astrology to me, it's just a way to track events. That just like track events. I do remember that even in our old Bibles, that there was a God that said, okay, that I would put my signs and wonders in the earth and in the stars. So to me, that makes sense. Like that aligns with what astrology is. It helps us determine seasons and things like that. Do I sit around and read it and go, oh, I'm supposed to act like this way because I'm a Scorpio? No, not when it comes down to that. But when it comes down to certain events and certain energies that the planet may represent during that season, yeah. Now, I'm controversial when it comes down to Mercury retrograde. I don't believe it exists. I don't believe that planets go backwards. But there has been so many, people that are really into that. But when I think about it, I'm saying, okay, if we're in a constant rotation and everything is in order, what would happen if a planet went rogue and started going backwards? I think it would affect us a little bit more than just communication.
Right.
So
that's
I'm
total destruction right there.
That. Yeah.
Right.
Now you said that was Louis from back in the day?
Yeah, that's Lucy. Yeah, that's Louis.
Hey, how are you? I wonder if he even remembered me. But go ahead.
Yeah. Because when I put on the live, I'm sure he was like, "Oh, that's sister." But I ain't gonna lie, when you was on Sa, I ain't know that was you, yo. Because I was listening, I was watching. I'm like, "Who this spitting this fire like this?" You know what I mean? So when you reached out, I'm like, "Hold up, that was you?"
Right.
Get that. I'm like, all right, everybody touching on Sa platform now from where we started. Because like we could have got on Sa platform back then, but it wasn't the time for it yet.
Right.
Everything happened in due season. So when I seen your face and recognized, I was like, yo, shorty spitting that fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta get on the channel.
We was on it back then. We were on it back then. We'd have these little groups, get our debates on and stuff, and But
hey, Lucy right here. Hey, peace. What up, King?
How you been?
Unmute your mic, King. Hold up, do I gotta do it? Boom, there you go.
What's up? Peace and light.
Peace and light. How have you been?
I've been well. How you been?
Good. Don't tell me you got a question for me, or are you just saying hi?
That was my question about astrology. So basically, it's a follow up. So I do like the answer that you provided. I'm pretty much in agreement with it. But as far as like what everyday folk, when they get into astrology, the retrogrades or what have you, the signs, sun sign, moon sign, or what have you, would you consider that to be just like fortune cookies in the sky?
I don't know how to answer that, Louis. No, I think, okay, here's what I think. I think that does planets and alignments have influence on us? Yes, when we are bound to it, okay? But when you are in connection with the creator, you supersede all of that. Like nothing, everybody in their chart has at least more than one sign, right? So how are you going to pinpoint which one is ruling or not? So I think we become sovereign to that after we reach a certain state. But we can be influenced when we're not there yet. Yeah, that is highly possible. I've seen people act exactly like their character describes. And then I've seen people who don't act like it at all, but they're of a higher level of consciousness. They can't be influenced by planets anymore. They can't be influenced by Drujas. They can't be influenced with that because they are firm. So, it's hit or miss with that. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the best I could do.
No, you did.
Okay.
There's really no right way. There's really no right way in answering it. It was,
right.
Get your perspective on it.
Yes, that's it.
You got another question coming from Cosmo and Cal.
Here we go.
His question is, Cosmo, where your ass at? Up in the chat. His question is, does the sister practice a cosmogony and what it is?
No. No.
Wow.
Okay. But I don't practice anything like that. You know, I don't have a practice. I did have a practice when I was, you know, coming up in ranks. I would practice things, but no. When it comes down to right now, it's just about me and the creator and my specific assignment of what I am here to do. That's about it. I don't do, you know, any rituals, any things of that nature. It's very personal. My walk is very, very personal, you know, but I don't practice anything. I look at the books and I take the knowledge of it as it applies to my walk, the understanding of it, and then I just keep moving forward. I'm just moving forward. So no, I don't practice anything.
Excellent, excellent. Let me ask you this. Dreaming. Because I know a lot of women, they have a strong discernment, they have a strong intuition, and they are very strong dreamers.
That's right.
So a person like you that's on the journey, what type of dreams have you been experiencing that you can remember that's helping you give an enlightenment download towards creator?
The dreams that I have, I don't really remember the last time. I can't really describe them as dreams. The last dream, this is funny though. I will tell y'all this. This is for entertainment purposes. This happened 2 days ago. For some reason, I dreamed that I was with Snoop Dogg and we were doing a crip walk down like a boulevard, and the song was in the background, "Keep it gangster, dog, keep it gangster." Now, why did I have that dream? I have no idea. But that was the last dream that I had. Most of the things that I dream are very symbolic. The last one that stands out to me was when it looked like I may have been in a Mayan type of civilization. Like they were more ziggurats than they were pyramids wherever I was. And there was a being there with a huge headdress, like huge, like a chief or something. And there was nothing but white snakes, like all over the ground. Like they was climbing up the ziggurats. They was all over the ground. And I was grabbing these snakes and I was putting them, you know, in the fire. After I done collecting them, and I wasn't getting burned, but I was throwing them in the fire. After I got done collecting them, this being, he bows and he says, "Anihuelo." Now that term has
He says what?
Anihuelo, and I still have no idea what that means.
Say it one more time slowly.
Anihuelo.
Ani?
That's what he said. Yes. Anihuelo. He said Anihuelo, and then I kind of got out of it. So I tried to do Indian language. I typed it into Google Translate. You know, I cannot figure out what he was trying to say to me. But I feel like that even dreams like that are very symbolic about something. There was something that I needed to clean. Okay. There was something that I had to purge out. I don't know if I was in that civilization. I go back and forth in time a lot, and it can become very confusing when I'm in a deep meditation. It really does. So I dream like that. Like my dreams are just out there. They're not normal, except for that Snoop Dogg dream. That was normal. That was fun.
No, we can have abstract dreams like that, but yeah, I just raised the questions because sometimes, you know, I'll have a lot of apocalyptic type of dreams, like the world coming to it, and or not even the world, like the cities just collapsing, and I'm running through the, you know what I mean, through the cities and the streets, surviving by a thin of the head, but I'm acknowledging an apocalypse event going on. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I had 2 apocalyptic dreams, but those were years ago. One was a giant. It looked like. I don't know what deity this is. I have no idea, but there was a being that was walking on the earth, and what he was doing was throwing souls off the earth that had any type of fear, you know. And I remember having that dream, like, what the heck is going on? Like, you couldn't be afraid of anything. He was throwing souls off the earth. And the second one was like a giant flood. And a group of us had made it like, okay, you know those construction sites where you can climb in and have the bars out? A group of us made it up on that platform. And people were floating, you know, down the street. And it was a few of us that kept jumping back in the water. Like we were safe, but we kept jumping back in the water, grabbing people. Then they would say, "Come on." And we would go, "No." And I think we drowned. So I don't know the symbolism behind that. Could have been, you know, it's time to leave things alone, you know, where everybody's not going to go with you, you know, stop jumping back in the fire, I guess.
Right,
I don't know.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes you just gotta You know, like we were speaking earlier, you can help people, you can show them the way, show them the light, but if it ain't for them at the time, you got to
Right.
move on and get
Right.
those who's more accessible to the light.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just meet people where they are. You know, you meet people exactly where they are. And still, you know, just show that type of love when they don't understand something or etc. It's okay. They'll eventually get there, you know. But like I said, some people get stuck in certain things because they didn't really get the lesson that's behind it. Whether or not you think these religious stories are allegorical, metaphysical, you know, or literal, physical, right? Regardless on how you process these stories, what's more important is the message and the lesson behind it. Okay. If you can understand the message and the lesson behind it, you can still move.
Right.
We don't have to argue whether or not, you know, these beings was actually deities or were they aspect of nature. What is the lesson? That's where I'm at with it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Interesting. So what what is your take on? Let me see here.
If you giggling like that, I'm about to hit this button. I'm about to hit this
button.
No,
it ain't nothing like that. I see a lot. One of the sisters said she had 2 dreams about a flood too.
Nice. Bring her on.
Yeah, the sisters is on top of what you're saying. They in agreements. I had 2 dreams about a flood too, but I made it out. Sister Jamia said, sisters keep voice notes or a written journal of your dreams.
Right. Very smart.
And then somebody put,
yeah.
I see the flood as a metaphor for death.
Cool. Could be.
Oh, I got one from Malachi Maccabee, honor and humility, peace to the God. He said, ask her what is her understanding on deja vu. I had it since I was a youth then, a youngin.
I was actually putting that in my book. I was actually going to explain it. I have discovered there's 3 versions of it, right? And I have experienced all 3 of them. So, okay, the first one started happening when I was a child, just like whoever that brother is that was talking about it started happening as a child. Now, I was sitting out, you know, playing with my Cabbage Patch Kids. And that was the thing back then. And I'm closing my age right now because Cabbage Patch Kids. So, how about that playing with it? And there was a little girl who asked me, can they push my stroller? And I said, sure, as long as you don't go past Cheryl's house, because down there was the bad kids, you know, and I didn't want them stealing my stuff. And she goes, okay. And as she started to push it, I remember going, wait a minute, you asked me this already. And she goes, no, I didn't. I said, we had this exact conversation. And I told you not to go down there. And this little girl's like, okay, you know, but she didn't want to dispute me because she thought that I was a mean little girl. So if she disputed me, I'd have took my Cabbage Patch Kids. So she decided to go ahead and agree with it and just go. The first instant, I felt like one instance would be us catching up with ourselves. Like, okay, if we understand timelines, right? We understand that each decision that we make can branch us off to a different timeline. Say you get off course, okay? Say that you have charted out your life. This is an agreement between you and the creator. You know, when you come down here, this is what you're going to do. And you take a left path, you know, or a wrong turn somewhere. But this timeline keeps going while this one is branching off and you end up coming back to it. When you come back to it, boom, it triggers the recycle again. It's almost like a reset. You're right back where you're supposed to be. Another time I experienced it, I was in my store and somebody was ringing up something, right? And I remember telling her how much it cost and where it came from, you know, because I was really big in the fair trade. And once I said that, I said, holy crap, I just shifted. Now, these are things that I'm saying out loud as this occurrence is happening, because I remember talking to this girl. I remember ringing her up and all of this stuff. I just shifted. I think that can happen too when you have jumped or shifted to another timeline. Say you made good decisions, you're ready to go. Okay, so the third one I want to keep for the book because that one's a lot deeper than the 2 that I'm saying now. But yeah, that those occurrences can either be a reset, or it was like I was catching up to where I was really supposed to be.
Powerful. Yo, that's deep, yo. Yo, Lucy.
You
got a question for sis?
You know, earlier, one thing I noticed, she said in her journey, she said she was in contact with entities. And she said something about them being like melanated, and she didn't see like a white one up until like what, 2020?
Right.
And you said you were going to expand on that. I was just curious to hear about that.
I think when it came down to that, they can, if we're dealing with entities, you know, or energy, they can present themselves any kind of way that they want. I think that the reason why I was seeing them look like me was because they were my ancestors, and this is what I was comfortable seeing. It wasn't until I started seeing more 2020, I started branching off and seeing more diversity. But as a child, you know, if it's an angel coming, would it have scared me if he was giant, white wings? You know what I mean? So sometimes they can present themselves in something that you're comfortable with, and I think that that's all that was, you know. And besides the fact that my DNA, you know, when I tap into my lineage, I come from a lineage of brown skinned people. Okay, so my chances are my ancestors were brown skinned. That's just all that was. But I became more diversified when I stopped being as militant as I was. I can understand, you know, different cultures, you know, who are teaching them. And I'm, like I said, I'm in unconditional love. And when I was ready, I was able to see a broader scope. But growing up, no, that's what I was used to. And it wouldn't have scared me.
I mean, that makes sense. It makes total sense. I was just curious because I've never had like, you know, I've never seen entities or anything like that. I've had like supernatural experiences, but I've never seen any spirits. So when I hear people have stories of when they see spirits, I'm very interested in those type of experiences, just so I can take notes.
So, Louis, if you're interested in that, then you have to come to the channel. I'm trying to get some people together that wants to come out there and share their supernatural experience, so this can become the norm, you know, because a lot of people are still scared of that, you know, and there's people that won't talk about their experiences because they're afraid of being judged, but it plays such an important role in our journey. So I would love to have you come there and talk if you want to.
Yeah, I'm completely open. I'm always open about, you know, I never had nothing crazy. I just, you know, I've been around things. I've been around Santeria, you know what I mean? Me being Puerto Rican, Dominican, and living in Philly, North
Yeah.
Philly. So, you know, I've been around some stuff. I just never
Yeah.
outright, you know, I'm not like a Suisse or anything like that. I don't hear and see the spirits of the dead. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So when I hear stories and I read Owasso, you know, I read things like the Book of Judgment, the Book of Discipline, or what have you. So I like to parallel those things, those experiences, and see what it's about.
Okay.
You know?
Good. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's real, yo. I had my little experience.
Uh-oh.
In Brooklyn, and when I did the Cosmon Temple, I had my experience in the Cosmon Temple. Books flying off the table, doors opening up. I was like, yo.
Wow. Right.
You know,
Wow.
I know I experienced like vague things. Maybe the TV came on, like, maybe that was just a lecture. Like, you would kind of write it off, but this was so vague. This was like straight in my face. Like, the door opened up, woof. I heard it. And it was like, yo, somebody opened that door like they was upset. You know what I mean? And the room my wife was in, the door opened up in there too. 3 books flew off the table. And the way they flew off the table, it's like the way they landed, it's like somebody put it there like in a way. It was in threes, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you throw something off the table, it kind of flumbles anywhere, pages, the book is slightly open. Man, this joint landed like somebody took it and then put it right there on the ground. It was like, yo, pew, out the door we went. You see what I'm saying?
You know what?
I was caught off guard at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, Selah.
Now go ahead, Ken.
Since we're on that, on spirits and dreams or what have you, what's your take? It's Sophia, right?
Sophie, yeah.
Sophie.
Sophie.
What's your take on psychedelics and hallucinogens? Like natural plants, like natural fungi.
I'm okay with plant medicine if it's not abused. I didn't have to go that route, but I did go through an ayahuasca trip. I did have one. I took an ayahuasca trip and I took a mushroom trip, and this happened in 2020, and then I did another one in 2021. It really is going to depend on your consciousness. You know how everybody says there's you can have a good trip or a bad trip. I think when it comes down to plant medicine and things like that, you want to try to be as pure as you can possibly be. Okay. To even go through that, it can heal a lot of people. we had a meditation circle, and I saw like there were people that would drink it, you know, and they would start seeing fractals and sacred geometry and things like that, and it might freak them out. When I took it, the plant medicine, I went back to try to heal some things that I was harboring against my mom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go back and see her as a young woman, only 16 years old, and had to realize this is a baby raising a baby, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. So I did it to heal that situation. I don't have any problems with it if it's done correctly, you know, and the person that's implemented it knows what they're doing. But we can get it naturally too. You know, we can trigger DMT without the plant medicine, you know, with breathing.
Yeah, that is one of the goals. I mean, Owasso says that one of the goals of being mortal, you know what I mean? And your ascension is to be able to see the heavens while you're in mortality without
Right.
having to, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Sure, without intoxications.
AIDS
Uh-huh.
or having what, AIDS?
No, I just on the tip of my tongue. What is it when you travel in spirit or what have you out of your body? Astral
Astral
projection?
travel?
Yeah. Where you
Astral
can, like,
projection.
I guess, do that, where you can just master those things while you're alive. Because
Yeah,
obviously you're going to do these things on a greater scale after you're dead and you
right.
pass on. But you're able to see the heavens, and the heavens can be actually open to you while you're alive, and that's the goal. So
What, an
I
addict?
actually
An addict?
agree with you. Hmm?
No,
I
I
didn't
said
hear you,
addict.
Selah.
No, I was talking about the word addict. If he was
Oh,
referring to an addict.
I will say this. The astral realms is the first level outside of this. So it could become dangerous, you know, when it
Of
comes down
course.
to astral travel, because in that realm you have both agreeables and disagreeables. It's like the first point of contact, you know. So there's souls that get lost. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you a story since we're on this astral travel story and how I got freaked out. So I'm up, you know, I'm learning how to do this. And I don't even know how I learned how to do this, to be honest. Like there was nothing that, you know, I was practicing. I just came to the realization that a lot of times when I was young and I thought I was dreaming, I was actually traveling and just didn't know it. So this was a natural gift. So I'm up there and I see a red door, right? It's like stone, it's dark around, you know, but this like this burgundy red door, and it's kind of like on a downward slope. I start getting curious. I'm walking to it. And then when the closer I got, these dogs started coming around. Like these dogs started sniffing around and they were trying to bite me. And now I'm trying to run. You know, I'm trying to get my soul out of it and I can't. Whatever was behind that door was pulling me, like pulling my soul. And I was scared that I was going to get trapped out there. A being in white came and snatched me from my collar and saved me from there, because people can get lost in those realms.
That's
Okay,
right.
this is not something that I would just tell everybody to do, you know, but it is the lowest point. You can go higher than that where you will be safe, you know, but the astral realms is both agreeables and disagreeables, all types of stuff out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. You could definitely get caught up. You know what I mean?
Even
I
in
read
the
books on that. It's not advisable to go into the lower realms. You want to be experienced, and ideally, you want to have, you know, other people with you or whatever. So
Right.
other
Yeah.
entities, power and
even in the movie Insidious, Insidious was a movie exactly what you described. Because the young boy, he was an addict. He could travel in spirit, but he traveled
Right.
so far that he got lost and got captured by the Baphomet deity, and the father had to go. The father was a master traveler too, but he didn't know it at the time because his mother kept it from him.
Right.
When it came time to go save his son, the nigga tapped into the realm, and then you see the battle he had to go through to get his son dealing with the drudges. And then
Right.
when he got to his son, the chief deity was the Baphomet, the chief,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Then he had to run back to his actual body. So that is true, yo. That's why I say, man, it's you just can't tap into these things. You know what I mean? You verily have to master self before even playing around with these things.
Right.
Because like you say, they could trap you in. And a lot of times, like the Owasso say, we have guardian angels. So when we tap into these realms, when we get lost out there, here comes the guardian angel to bring us back.
Right.
You know
Thank the creator for that. I'm telling you, because I could not stop myself from being drawn to whatever that was. It really, really freaked me out. And so, yeah, I just never went back there again. And that movie Insidious scared the crap out of me because
Yes.
I actually ended up watching it after I had this experience, and it made so much sense. I was like, wow. Hi, Cosmo. Is that Kyle?
It's Cosmo Cal in the building. Peace to the God.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, guys. Peace to the sister Sophie. She gave that. I think this is a fire bill. I think this is a great bill. And I like when people give their own personal insight to the spirit world. It just adds a little seasoning, a little their own little sauce in there. You dig what I'm talking about? I like it. And the crazy part is I don't speak about my many of my experiences because it'd be hard for me to believe.
Right.
So
I know.
I don't be trying to get nobody else to believe them. But yeah, you know what I mean? So it'd be hard for me to believe. So but what the sister is hitting on, I like that cooking. I like that cooking. I like that soul food. And it's sitting right in my tummy because she's telling truth. And a lot of what she's saying in her experience, I go back and I'm picturing, and it's like a movie. You can just once you've had it, you may not remember everything instantly,
right,
but you'll have an experience, and it'll draw a whole teaching or something you may have learned all the way back, and you're like, dang, I heard that somewhere before, and then it'll click in. You know what I mean? And another thing that you hit on that I thought was right on. Another thing that you hit on that I thought was right on the point is, and this is how it comes to me, when she calls the inspiration download.
Right.
That sits right here. That's good for me, and because that's how I get them. Also, I don't get just the question. I get the question, the answer, and then how to get all the way to the both, and then you just put it together, and you be looking dumbfounded, like, how did I even? You know what I mean? But that's how it comes, all in one ball.
Right.
And you just decipher it. That's how it works for me personally.
Yeah.
So man, the sister Sophie, peace and blessings, love and the light to you along your path, man. I love this. You dig what I'm saying? So peace and blessings to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Peace and blessings, brother, as well. Thank you so much. I can't wait to hear your experience, though. Are you still going to do it on the show? Are you going to talk about it, or are you going to run out? Kyle, are you going to talk about it?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely talk about it. I'll bring it out. I've talked about one of my experiences before. Am I muted?
You're coming in and out. You're not muted.
Can everybody hear me, or do I have some type of lag?
I hear you now.
I hear you.
Okay, hopefully. We just had some tornado warnings up here, so our internet is out. So I'm using, I think, a hotspot. So, but yeah. I'm definitely gonna do the show. I brought this experience out, but you know what I mean. It's, you know, I tell it again. You know what I mean? Why not? And hopefully it helps somebody. You know, but I've had other experiences that I haven't talked about. It's funny that Mally brought up deja vu. I get deja vu almost every day.
Yeah.
Almost every day. You know what I mean? And what I've noticed is, and I don't know what the sister diet is, and it don't really matter because I've learned that there's so many ways to get to Creator. You know what I mean? There isn't a way that's wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but what I've noticed is, I changed my diet on my 40th birthday.
Okay.
I changed my diet on my 40th birthday. And, since then, that voice, the regularity of dreams, because I hardly ever used to dream, or if I did dream, I didn't remember them.
Yeah.
And now I not only do I get the visions clearer, they come clear, they come more often, and I can hear that voice. That voice is loud now. It used to be real small.
Right.
That voice to tell you, don't do that.
Right.
Don't go over there.
Right.
That ain't good.
Yeah.
That voice that I always thought was me. I always thought that voice was me. That's not me. And once I started listening, it's not in my voice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then once you really start to pay attention, you really figure out the voice is coming from outside of you. So it's not even your voice. So I would. My question is: have you moved to a herbivorous diet? Have you moved to a herbivorous diet? And if you have, what were the benefits that you've seen in your spiritual walk?
So I didn't move to a vegan type of diet. I am pescatarian. Okay, so I do like fish. That's what I will include fish. But it hasn't really made any difference, you know. Nothing I physically did actually enhanced what I'm doing or not. I mean, I guess this is just my state of being. You know, I can't do anything that. Let me think when I got into some mess. Okay, let me think about how things work when I got into some mess. No, the gifts were still there. It was still there. Like nothing really shifted. It's just gotta be me. I'm the weirdo.
You know what the crazy thing is? Like the dude I seen levitate asked me for a cigarette after that.
Wait a minute. Somebody levitated. That's amazing.
This dude I knew from back in the day. I was at this 5% rally, and after the rally, I was talking about Yahshua walking on water to this other guy.
Yeah. And
this dude walked up and was like, "I can levitate," and the nigga levitated before our face. He pulled it off.
Did he do that feet thing?
That when he first did it, that's the same thing I thought.
Right.
So I went to his feet. There ain't no escape right here where I'm looking at. There ain't no goddamn escape.
Right.
The nigga did it again, and sure enough, both the nigga feet came off that damn ground, yo. And it was like when magnets are reversed, you know what I mean? It was like he was, you know, when you turn two magnets and then that force is like going against each other.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, the way it looked. Like it was like, how the fuck? It looked magnetic the way he came off the ground. And then he did it a third time. You see what I'm saying? And after that, he asked me for a cigarette. And I'm like, a cigarette? Where does the purity comes in that then? That's what had me riddled. You know what I mean? But
you know, Georgia powers too.
Throwing that out there to say like you can ascend and reach spiritual places, even if you're impure at the time or not have the best diet at the time. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's not. There's an African shaman that's all over YouTube. That these white people went out there to do the documentary. And they had the camera down there, and he was able to levitate and balance himself too. I think they're doing something with chi energy. I think they're pushing it down.
Let me tell you, that's crazy. You asked that.
I hadn't mastered any of that.
Because when I seen it was me. It was like I said, I was at a 5% rally, and right after the rally, I was talking to one guy about Yahshua. Everybody scattered and left, but where we were standing at, we was in the city. Everybody around. So when dude walked up and said that, the nigga levitated the first time, and we looking around like, yo, y'all see this shit? Like, why is me and this nigga the only one seeing this shit? And motherfuckers walking around. When he did that shit the second time, a car was at a light. I looked at the car and said, y'all see this shit? They ain't paying the like, yo, we like, yo. And then the nigga did it the third time, and I was bugging like, yo. And my man, he said, the nigga was like, yo, the first thing he said, y'all ever thought about it? Like, ever thought about it? He said, that's where it started. You got to believe you could do it type shit. But then the nigga took a deep breath. Well, this is what I noticed. He took a deep inhale and then held it right there. And whatever type of force and pressure he was doing was at the moment, at the peak of the breath.
Okay.
And it was his head. Wherever the force of the levitation came from was his head. Because on the third levitation, he was leaning forward with his head. He had a tilt. like a 45-degree tilt floating. And then when he came down, he grabbed his head. And when he said out this is the words he said, sometimes it hurts my head. Those are the words he said after he came down and grabbed his head. So right there, I knew it was a combination of breath and a combination of concentrated force up here.
Yeah.
You think a nigga ain't been practicing that shit ever since I seen that, boy?
Well, I mean, what do scientists say? They say we use what, 10, 15%? With the things I'm
But I
talking
believe that's
about,
like, yo, I seen that shit. I'm like, yo.
How much do you think we use? Because I don't know. I'm not a scientist. What do you think we use? The percentage of our brains.
What'd you say?
What do you think we use?
Oh,
the percentage
shit,
of our brains.
I don't. Go ahead, Cosmo.
Cosmo? Hello?
You froze?
I'm frozen?
Or Lucy, how much a percentage of the brain you think we use?
No, go ahead. I wouldn't say nothing.
No, I think what it is. I don't know the percentage of the brain, but I just know the Owasso says that you know, everybody's under the influence of the spirits of the dead in some way, shape, or form. So I just think that, you know, what kind of spirits are on you and what kind of things you're into, you know what I mean? I believe your spirits of darkness can give you, you know, powers. You can levitate and things of that nature. You can even send out curses and spirits can go out and inoculate someone. You know what I mean? You have white magic, dark magic. You know, there's always that polar you know, that polar opposite to it. So
well, the
that's just pretty much
scientists are saying 10 to 15% or something around in there. That's all the brain power that we use. I'm wondering, would we still consider it spookism? You know, if we had the ability to tap into 100% of our brain, what would we be doing then? And would it be as spooky? Could it be, you know, instead of all of the spiritual stuff, could it be that some people have access to higher parts of their brains than others?
That's probably what the cycles are for. Because if you notice, man has been like, there's always like a decline, and then, you know what I mean, kind of resets, but we always kind of go further.
Right.
You know, like when they talk about Atlantis or like Lemuria or like Pan or whatever, I don't know if they're like, I know at that time that was high civilization, but was it like today?
Right.
You know what I mean? We're always evolving. Like that's how the Owasso said, like how you go from an infant to a toddler or an adolescent. You know what I mean? You see men do that throughout the ages.
Right.
So, you know, and when I read books like, you know, the Book of Ra, the Law of One, when you look at stuff like that, you start to see that they say they're, you know, the social memory complex, they call themselves in that book. They're evolved people from supposedly Venus or whatever, but you know, they went through the cycle. You know what I mean? So I guess through those cycles, you just keep unlocking certain parts of the brain. That's how this all started. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil was for me was a C gene, which helps with, or the allele that helps with the hippocampus, which deals with, you know, where you retain memory, and that deals with your spiritual and your mystic side or whatever. So, you know, it's always with the brain. The brain's always continuously being unlocked throughout the ages.
Right.
If we allow it through the hybridization, you know, human beings, because obviously ancient primitive humans didn't have the ability to retain spiritual knowledge. You see that in the book of Genesis, you know, chapter 2, and talks about the Garden of Eden. When Adam and Eve were created, they were created naked and unashamed, and they had no knowledge of good and evil. And you have to have knowledge to know evil. You have to have knowledge to know good.
That's true.
So since they had no knowledge of good and evil, and they run around butt ass naked, it just lets you know that they lived like the beasts of the field.
Right.
The animals, they were primitive until they got that fruit, and then their eyes were open. So,
and see, that's why I love our masculines, right? Because I'm going to be in this intuitive and mystical side and spiritual side, but they balance us so well with that science and that logic, and you know, and this is how we, you know, we build these gaps, and we, edify one another, because they're going to come from a different perspective and it's going to make sense if you can put it together. I am not scientific at all. I have understanding of consciousness. I have understanding of dimensions. But when it comes down to like math and science, I'm brilliant up there. But down here, I can't figure out, what tip to leave at a restaurant. So, yeah. That's just how that goes.
But it's all good. That's what having a team is about. You know what I mean? Well, one is
right.
What area you may not be sharp, but somebody else is there to confirm and question and, you know what I mean? Consolidate.
And that's why I ask so many questions,
And vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Any more questions in the chat? Any more questions for the sister? See what I'm saying? Let me know what's up, family. We're going to wrap it up in a minute. Close to 2-hour mark. You know how we dizzle.
Right. So if you're new, I am Dragon Lotus Meta Spiritual Society. My website is dragonlotusms.org. Be careful in that website. It's a lot of heavy stuff in there. I don't recommend everybody to read it, but dragonlotusms.org. And I have a small YouTube channel. I really don't promote it that much because I don't want to deal with a bunch of feedback. So
you got a couple subscribers too. A couple people hit me and said in the chat they subscribe to your channel. So
they did. Oh, bless you guys. Thank you. Now it's a little bit. My channel is broad. It's universal. So there's going to be teachings for every walk of life. You just got to figure out where you fit in. Okay. So sometimes I'm going to be talking to the Christians and trying to get them somewhere. Yep. That's just how I flow. Yeah.
Word up. So let me see if any more questions in the chat.
All right, so I finna hop off.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Matter of fact, we're gonna go ahead and chime it out. We're gonna go ahead and close it out. So I'm gonna have the sister say her last.
Can I ask the sister a question?
Yeah. Go ahead, Cosmo. I think you muted.
Can I ask the sister a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, I got a bad delay. Okay.
Every time you
my
get
question
that part
is
out,
to
but
the
the question
sister.
never comes. Okay.
My question is to the sister: is man God and is God man?
Can I do a no comment for that right now?
Well, hopefully,
do that? Because it's layered. Will you allow me to bypass that question altogether? Because I'm gonna punk my way out of that one. Okay, can we do that? Look at him smiling. I appreciate that. That's yeah, that's a good one. He put me on a hot seat on that one. No, I'm not gonna. No. I'm gonna come back and answer it though. I just want to get a bit more clarity. Just not on this one.
God, I love you, sister. I'm lagging so bad. I'm gonna just drop down in the chat. I love y'all, man. Peace. Creative gang. I'm out.
Gang.
All right, Creative gang. Thank you for tuning in. Oh boy, Kyle is hilarious.
Kyle a handful, boy.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm up to peace out. You guys have yourselves a good one. I appreciate
Louis,
you.
we got to get you on here next, bro. I'm holler at you in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting on. You get what I'm saying? We're definitely gonna do one. And it was nice talking to you again, Sophie.
Nice talking to you, Louis. Have a good one.
So, all right, y'all. Peace and light.
All right, Kick. I'm gonna hit you in the messenger.
Creative gang. I'm out as well.
So go ahead and close it out. Go ahead and close it out, Sister Sophia. For the people.
I just want to say, thank you for having me, on your platform. I know that it was a little bit, controversial, and I was really nervous. He'll tell you, I was nervous about coming on here because I didn't know how I was going to be perceived. But I do want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me. And, if you have any questions, my email is dragonlotusms@yahoo.com. My website is dragonlotusms.org. And my YouTube channel, so everything is here, Dragon Lotus Meta Spiritual Society, guys. All right? And I love you all.
Hey, they may want a link for that cup right there, for that mug.
No, that's my baby there. That's my baby there. So, thank you.
All right, peace and blessings, sis. Thanks for having you on. Excellent build, Joe.
Peace and blessings. I'm out.
All right, blessings. So yes, family, we got another excellent build. Sister Sophia came on and did a thing, dropped the vibes, because you know it's the vibes. And your boy Selah Shalom, we just vibing it out. You know how we do. It's an excellent build. Yes, family. It's the vibes. So as you see, everybody follows different paths, different journeys, different experiences, but it all leads back to the one creator. You dig? Yes, you're gonna vibe out, you're gonna sign out. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibes.